Hello ladies and gentlemen, it's Al from Al's Auto back with another video. Now if you've been following my social media, then you would know that I was planning on building a gaming chair from the junkyard today, but I kind of gave up on that for right now. Today's video, I'm going to go ahead and we're going to do an oil change. So let's get started. Alright everybody, I'm here at my local Advanced Auto Parts. I'm going to go ahead, grab some oil. I have a filter, but I'll show you guys how to look at getting your own filter too. And I'm going to see if they have my cabin air filter. So let's do it. Alright guys, now when you're in Advanced Auto Parts, where all the filters are, there's this book. Okay, it's in alphabetical order, and the latest model is always first. So this is where you'll find all your filters: oil filters, air filter, cabin filter. They don't have my cabin filter, so and all of these numbers correspond to a brand that they have right here. We've got our oil. They didn't have my cabin air filter, so I'm gonna have to find a way to get it, either online or I have to go to a Jiffy Lube where they won't let me do it myself, you know, and blah. So the guy really helped me out because I accidentally grabbed the most expensive one, and he gave me this one right here, which is a lot cheaper. It was like almost $20 cheaper. And so I mean, there's not a huge difference with the oils, to be honest. I usually go with Pennzoil. My car takes synthetic oil, so I need to have 0W20 synthetic. You know, your car might take something else, 530, 520, whatever. I'll go more into detail about that in another video. So for now, let's go back home and get this oil change started. Things you're going to need is a thing to get all the old oil, jack stands, a jack, your oil, filter, some gloves as always, filter pliers. These come in a lot of different shapes and sizes and everything. I tend to go with these, to be honest. I like these the most. And for my car, it has a hex bolt for the drain plug, so I need one of these. Now you can get all of this stuff at Advanced Auto Parts, to be honest. I'm not sure about these, but then again, your vehicle might not have a hex bolt. As always, the very first thing you want to do is pop that hood. Now what I like to do before I start lifting the car up, put these close to where I need to put them. Now right here, underneath the car, you have this thin little piece of extra metal. Okay, this is what we call pinch weld, this whole thing. It goes all the way from the front of the vehicle to the very end, all the way back. And up here around this area. This is the lifting point, okay? Usually up here, about right there. So that's where we're going to put this jack stand, which is why I like to put them right next to it first. Now go ahead, open the hood, and take the oil cap off. A lot of cars, they'll say what kind of oil it takes on the cap right here. Now grab a piece of wood and put it on top of your jack, because you don't want, you know, to mess anything up while you're lifting the car up. Now, when you turn the rod to the right, it tightens and you can start lifting it up. When you turn it to the left, it'll lower it. So, we're going to go ahead and find a piece of metal, nice solid steel metal. Let's see. This looks pretty good right here. Yeah, this is part of the subframe right here, and so it'll hold the vehicle's weight, so you can go ahead and lift it up from there. Yep, it's good right there. One thing I forgot to mention, guys, is you want to go ahead and grab a chock, or 2 chocks I mean, and put them in the rear tires, behind the rear tires. Okay, so this is as far up as it'll go right now. I think my jack is about ready to die. I'm gonna have to grab another one, and so I went ahead, grabbed some smaller jack stands. And all you want to do is put them here under, and put it as high as I can, which is about right there. Try to make sure it's a little centered. Do the same for the other side. Now slowly turn the shaft to the left. Now typically you would, you know, leave the jack there just in case, and then, you know, it'd be easier to put the car back down with the jack just already there, but I need to get in through the front, so I'm gonna go ahead, take it out. Now here comes the really fun part, which is I'm gonna grab our little oil. Bring it down there. Grab whatever wrenches you need, which in my case are these. Now the oil pan. Come back, and on this particular car, it's right here. The oil filter Now typically the oil pan is kind of in the back. It's kind of like in the middle of the vehicle. Gosh, this is annoying. It's hard as hell. Anyway, this is the plug, and here is the filter. Okay, I'm about a little behind the radiator. The radiator is right here, right in here. I'm about maybe a foot or so behind it. Now, if you can't find your filter right next to the oil plug, it should be around the same vicinity. So it's either up there, or it's kind of in the front, or it's over here on the side. But usually it's somewhere around the engine oil. Okay, so let's size this up. See what size this guy is. This is too big. You guys see how there's a lot of movement there? That means that it's still not the right size. And the size above it is too big, which means we need to get another set. Haha, I found it. I found it. I previously used this same exact one for an oil change earlier last year, and I marked it so that I would know that this is the one that I need. But I couldn't find it, and now I found it. So let's go back under the car and have some fun. Whole lot of fun. A whole lot of fun. So there. Okay, I'm going to need both hands for this. Now, if it's still not coming out with all of your strength, instead of just pushing it and pushing it and pushing it, put one hand over it like this and use the other hand to hit it. Bop, 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 like that. And it's loose. Bam. So the special way, the special way that you set all of this up so you don't drip oil onto your driveway or onto the floor or anything is, gosh, I wish this was higher, is that you put it as far as you can. So this is where the drain plug is, and this is the back of the entire tank. Okay, so we're going to move it just a little bit more, and now go ahead, take out the plug. As always, righty tighty, lefty loosey. Okay. Now you see how it's flowing? You want that at the front of the tank, because then what will happen is when it's done and it's just dripping, it'll still drip into the tank. You won't have to worry about that. Another thing I forgot to mention, because you know I forget a lot of things, is that rags are your best friend. You can never go wrong with more rags. So this right here The only thing you really need to look at is the little washer that's right here. Typically every oil change you would change this out, but I mean, it doesn't look crushed or anything. It doesn't look bad. It doesn't look like it's going to break anytime soon, so I'm just going to reuse this. Okay, now our oil is all drained. It's up to you if you want to do this or not, but you can take out the filter and let them both drain at the same time, or you can leave the drain plug out, take out the filter and let it drain. I am just going to put the plug back in and then change the filter. See if I can get the right angle. Can slowly move this away. I dropped my plug. I gotta clean all this stuff again. No, you don't want to get oil in the camera. There's the hole. Righty tighty. Get it as finger tight as you can first. Now grab your ratchet, or in my case this little hex driver. Now you can move out of my way. Okay. Now you don't want it too tight, but you want it tight. So nice and snug, and that should be about right. Again, you don't want it too tight. You don't want to like use all of your strength with both hands. Okay. Now we go ahead and take out the filter. So just like any other regular pliers, the biggest side is where you're going to turn to. So I'm going to put it here. I'm going to turn. I'm going to push. Okay. I'm going to push so that the filter turns towards me. Okay. Couple turns should be enough to the point where you can put your hand and start turning it. After a couple turns, it'll go ahead and start leaking. Let it leak all the way out, as much as it can leak. Now I'm going to go ahead and grab my rag and use my rag to take it the rest of the way off. Patience is key. Okay. Now, you see the gasket there? That's where it should be. If it's not there, and you should probably do this anyway, you just go up. This is the filter spindle and the mounting plate. You kind of just clean it, and bam. Now, grab your U filter. Now, last time I used a purelator, but this time I'm going to use a Fram. Now can't really say there's much of a difference, to be honest. They all have their different numbers, they all have their different styles. So for a Purelator, for a car like that, or a small engine like a Honda, a Nissan, or a Toyota, Purelator is 4612. Okay. Ram, same engines, same cars, is a 6607. All right. Now, right out of the box, the gasket is a little dry. So you're gonna go ahead, grab some oil. It can be the old oil, it can be the new oil, and just cover that gasket like that. Some people will go ahead and just fill up the oil filter with oil. I'm not going to say that's a bad idea. I'm not going to say that's a great idea. I have not seen a difference in my personal experience, but it does help the engine a little bit. Basically what happens is when you start up the engine, the oil goes around the engine into the filter, and it fills up the filter with oil. And you know, that just means that it will take a little bit extra time for the engine to what we used to call pressure up, which means that the oil light will go off. The oil light will go off when the engine notices that oil is all around the engine, inside the filter, and all that stuff. So let's go back underneath the car. Now I'm going to move this a little bit. I'm going to switch hands. You see how there's no oil dripping anymore? I don't even see. You see how there's no oil dripping? There's nothing dripping? That's because I already took all the oil out of the car, basically. Okay, so there's no more oil for it to drain. Now, as always, righty-tighty, lefty-loosey. I might need both hands for this. There we go. Tight it as much as you can. And that right there is good enough. Now, there used to be a skid plate here, but I really didn't like it, so I just took it off and I lost it. Oh well. Now just grab your rag and clean all around it. If you really made a big mess around all of these engine parts, you can go ahead and just use some brake clean. Now, you need a funnel. Sometimes, you know, if your pouring skills are really good, you can not use a funnel, but typically you want a funnel. Now, do your research, guys. See how much your vehicle needs. I know off the top of my head that my vehicle takes 4.5 quarts. Normally, a four-cylinder engine, like a Honda, a Nissan, a Mazda like this one, it'll take about 4 to 4.5 quarts. So just do your research, guys. I have a little bit of Pennzoil, synthetic, half quart. So, you know, I mean, it's 0W20, full synthetic. It's still the same thing. So, mixing brands, in my personal experience, it's okay. I need to get rid of this. Now, I don't know exactly why they do it like this, but this guy right here, these lines represent a quart. Okay, there's quart, and I believe this side is liters. Now this has 5 quarts in it, so 1 quart, 2 quarts, 3 quarts, 4, and then you have to kind of guesstimate. 5 would be somewhere around here. So the way to read this is I have put 1 quart, 2 quarts, 3 quarts. This would be 4 right here. And remember, I already put half a quart of the other stuff, of Pennzoil. So I need to put just a little bit more in the car. Went a little bit more than 4 quarts, but it'll be okay. Now, this is empty, so we don't need it. Now, we're pretty much done with the oil change. You just gotta lower the carb, start her up, go on a flat surface and check the oil. That's pretty much it. Don't forget to put the cap back on. Lower the hood. Now we're going to go ahead and move it. Maintenance light, tire light, which I forgot, cruise control, and no seatbelt on. So if you guys have seen my other video, you'll see how to check your tires and reset it. I don't need to go over that now, and I'm not go up first so we can take the chocks out. And honestly, I'm not really worried about it. 1 chock, 2 chocks. Go ahead, get onto a flat surface. As always, lift up the hood. Rag. Grab your dipstick. Go ahead, clean it all. Okay. I could use a little bit more oil, but that's pretty good. So if you guys are interested to see where the oil dipstick is, go ahead, look at some of my other videos. Okay guys, the last thing we want to do is reset that light, right? So This screen right here is controlled by these right here. You're going to want to go home. I have to fix this. This thing's a little broken. Home. Turn it all the way to the left to applications. Go down to maintenance. Go into scheduled. Reset. Back. Home. Now, I have mine on 5,000 miles. With fully synthetic oil, you can go up to about 7,500 miles, but I like, just my personal preference to just go ahead and do it every 5,000 miles. It might be overboard, it might not be overboard, but you know what? That's the way I do things. Congratulations, everyone. You've officially done your own oil change. Now all you got to do is clean up. That's it, you're done. So if you like this video, go ahead, give me a thumbs up. Let me know some suggestions you might have, or any questions that you want to ask me. Leave them down below in the comments, and you can go ahead and subscribe right there, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.